Live from Central Pennsylvania, this is CBS 21 News This Morning.
Good morning. It's Thursday, February 20th. I'm Jesse McDonough. Right now, the fallout from the bankruptcy filing by the Harrisburg Diocese is being felt. We have team coverage this morning. What's next for the church, survivors, and how people across Central PA are reacting to this bombshell report. Plus, breaking news overnight, a deadly shooting in Germany leaves at least 9 dead. What authorities are saying may have motivated this mass attack. And top Democratic presidential candidates facing off in Nevada ahead of Saturday's caucus, the winners and losers from the debate, plus the president making a stop in Arizona for a Keep America Great rally. But first, let's get a check of that weather. It's been gorgeous. Here's Steve Knight.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a cold start here this morning, Jesse. Fighting a few clouds here and there. Temperatures in a lot of spots have slipped down into the low 30s. So where's the February weather? Well, it's actually off to our south. Unfortunately, those areas that don't need to see rain are getting it through Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. But this is going to turn into a bona fide snowstorm in the Carolinas. But for us, high pressure in control keeps all of that off to our south. And our weather stays pretty quiet here heading into the weekend. So back-to-back days where we're actually down below average, but pretty quiet. Then a really nice weekend. Upper 40s on Saturday, some sunshine, highs in the low 50s on Sunday. Jesse?
Breaking overnight from Germany, authorities are investigating a mass shooting that led to the deaths of at least 9 people. Officials say the 43-year-old gunman appears to have been motivated by far-right beliefs. They say he started at a hookah bar, then moved to several other locations. He was found dead near his mother's home. And we have breaking news in the coronavirus outbreak. 3 people have died overnight from the virus in South Korea and Japan. In South Korea, officials say 1 person died after getting sick. And in Japan, the country's health minister says 2 elderly patients who got the virus on the Diamond Princess cruise ship have died. Overall, the death toll from the coronavirus has now topped more than 2,100. The Harrisburg Diocese has officially filed for bankruptcy, becoming the first in Pennsylvania to take this action. This morning, we're looking at the impact this filing will have moving forward.
In the diocese, it's going to look exactly like yesterday in the diocese. Church is going to be open. Schools are going to be open.
Church leaders say today will be business as usual within the diocese. Services and schools remain open. They filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, meaning we will soon be seeing major changes in how it's organized. And the church said it needed to do this in order to get on stable financial ground following payouts from the grand jury report. In court documents, the church says it has up to 299 creditors and liabilities in upwards of $100 million. The diocese is also in the middle of filing a lawsuit against its insurance carriers, saying the companies haven't paid them more than $12 million in payments. This bankruptcy is bringing current lawsuits against the diocese to a standstill, and that's just part of the impact that it's having on victims right now. Joe Ducey joins us now. Joe, what are those survivors being asked to do today?
Hey, Jesse, well, attorneys for victims say there's a chance cases could actually stall out because of the diocese decision. We spoke with Sean Doherty, a survivor who was victimized for years as a child at the Altoona Johnstown Diocese. He's actually in Rome right now fighting for survivors of church sex abuse. He says messages about the Harrisburg Diocese have been coming in nonstop, and that is helping to fuel his mission. Now there are concerns the diocese decision to file bankruptcy could keep survivors from confronting witnesses through depositions.
The fact that their priests and nuns raped children for decades and covered it up for decades more is the reason why they're filing for bankruptcy.
Coming up next half hour, hear more from attorneys and why they're concerned the diocese decision could be a major roadblock for victims who continue to seek justice. Jesse?
Thanks, Joe. Inside the Harrisburg Capitol, the next step for lawmakers is addressing the clergy abuse scandal. It's passing a constitutional amendment. It would open up to a year window of justice for those whose statute of limitations has run out. To fully take effect, it'll need to pass in the House and Senate in the 2021 session. Then it'll need to be passed in a vote by people across the state. And the reaction to this filing continues to come in from across the region this morning. Those we've spoken to say the filing heightens the soreness of the subject. At the York Catholic game overnight, one parent says the diocese should ask the Vatican for help.
You can Go all the way up to Italy and to the Pope and saying there is so much more money, they can help. Yes, they might be bleeding a little bit, but they have other people they can go to and saying help us.
And you continue to make your voices heard on social media, on Twitter and Facebook. Ryan Eldridge continues our coverage this morning with what people are saying right now. Ryan.
Yeah, reaction is pouring in on social media because it's just as easy as getting on your phone, right? Some of this concern, some of this critical. We're going to go through this. We've been watching this, kind of highlighting some of your reactions over the last 12 plus hours. These are some of the ones that I found this morning I found interesting. So this one's kind of tongue-in-cheek, right? Music Man, trouble in River City, right? That kind of makes sense. How about this one? A little bit of anger from someone who claims to be a victim of abuse from the church. Another one here is using this, Thomas Justin, as kind of a history lesson, giving people an idea of what the finances are like at the Catholic Church. And actually, you alluded to reaching out to the Vatican. That's one thing that he says. And we got some other people here talking about the correlation between this and the decision the Boy Scouts made several days ago. A lot of people really talking about that, not to be outdone by the Boy Scouts, says Joey Rupert. So this reaction pouring in, and like I said, we've been monitoring this for the last 12 plus hours. We're going to continue to do so and bring you more throughout the show.
Thanks, Ryan. We have full coverage of the bankruptcy filing by the Harrisburg Diocese at CBS21.com. There you can follow this story from the very beginning and catch our full interview with a bankruptcy attorney who explains how this will look in the courts. The top 6 Democratic presidential candidates faced off in a heated debate just days before Saturday's Nevada caucus. It was a tough night for former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who took the debate stage for the first time last night.
To talk about who we're running against, a billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
Elizabeth Warren led the attack as candidates took aim at the former New York City mayor's wealth and stance on the controversial policy of stop and frisk. Meanwhile, former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg took shots at both Senator Bernie Sanders and Bloomberg.
We shouldn't have to choose between one candidate who wants to burn this party down and another candidate who wants to buy this party out.
Bloomberg isn't on the ballot in Saturday's caucus, but he'll be back on the debate stage next week in South Carolina. President Trump stopping by Arizona State Fairgrounds for a Keep America Great rally. The president touted the booming economy and the military, saying America is, quote, the most prosperous country we've ever had. Tonight, President Trump is holding a rally in Nevada ahead of Saturday's caucus. And today, student activists will meet with Senator Pat Toomey's staff to deliver hundreds of petitions demanding action on the Equality Act. In 2019, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill prohibiting discrimination based on sexual orientation. However, Senator Toomey and the GOP have yet to share their support for the legislation. Now calls for action are taking place, urging the senator to support the act in the Senate. Roughly 1.7 million Pennsylvanians rely on the government and could potentially lose their SNAP benefits. On Wednesday, food security agencies came together to speak out against the Trump administration's proposed cuts.
Average monthly SNAP benefit comes out to about $4 a day per person. Think about your average grocery bill. Living on $4 a day for a month doesn't take someone very far.
The Department of Health will continue to visit more communities to discuss this issue. A manhunt underway in Reading after 2 people were injured in a shooting in a bar. We'll tell you what police say happened and the motive behind the shooting next.
Well, a big storm brewing to our south. How will it affect our weather? I'll let you know with my first morning forecast.